My name is Todd Haberkorn. I'm a voice actor in cartoons and video games and audiobooks and an on-camera guy, and try to just do whatever I can in the world of entertainment, and have been doing it for longer than I'd like to say. So thank you for having me.
General all-around captain.
Oh, it's just a hand.
You're not in trouble, Todd. You're not in trouble. We swear.
Not yet. So what's up, guys?
So, did you recover from Bolton's chicken?
Dude, I've never had. So what happened was, for those of you that don't know, I went to Bolton's Chicken yesterday, and they have 3 levels. They have medium, hot, and very hot. Usually when you go to even Thai restaurants, hot is like, it's hot. You can do. This was insane. The heat, and it's not even the highest level. It comes out, and it's covered in chili powder. Like a piece of chicken tender, said, "What's this?" And they pressed the button, they get sprayed with chili powder. And I made it through all 3 pieces. Kason did not. He stopped. I go, "Dude, you don't have to be a hero. Just, you can stop." Because he was trying to get through it. And so we went next door to play. I was playing in the show, and he couldn't come in yet. He had to walk around and let it go. And it was hard to deal with. I did not. I'm sure Bolton's is a fine establishment otherwise, but I did not like that experience because it was hot. It was, and they didn't have any milk. They give you 2 pieces of bread, and I go up there, and the lady who owns the place clearly sees that I'm crying and all this, and I'm like, "Do you have any water or anything?" She goes, "No water." "Tap water?" "No tap water." So you have no running water in this restaurant. Okay. I probably shouldn't have eaten it, but no. It was eventually when I woke up. I was like, now I'm okay. But it took a whole gestation period of healing. So, but yeah, no more Boltons, or at least not hot. Love. Case and I are we want to try the very hot. I wonder if we may do that. We're gonna try the very hot just to try it, 1 bite of it, but just to see, because how could it possibly get any hotter? So it is. Is it? You've had it?
No, I've not had it.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't be here if you had.
I probably did. Yeah.
There's a place that has food where they have to put on gloves to serve it to you. Now, I can't imagine how much hotter. Why would you want to do that to yourself? Really? I don't know.
That's
But,
nuclear radiation.
Your messages.
yeah.
So would it be fair to say then, if you had one anime character's power, Natsu might be an appropriate one for that meal?
Yes. For that, of course, fire-eating wizard. I mean, God, that chicken was so hot. We were just happy afterwards to eat food that didn't have spice to it. We were remarking on it. We're like, this is the best pizza I've ever had, because it just wasn't spicy. So yeah.
Is it wrong that I just pictured Todd breathing fire now like Natsu?
Yesterday, that was totally plausible. Yeah. But yeah.
Having done acting, directing, writing, done it all, which is your preference? Which is your favorite to do?
I've been all of those things, whether it's producing or writing or directing or anything like that, out of necessity, only because that job needed to be filled, or because I was doing a project where I saw it perfectly in my head and knew that it would just be a waste of resources and time not to do it myself. And I learned a long time ago, delegating is so powerful. You have to have people on your team that you can, you trust giving things to do. But there was a time when I didn't feel that way, and so that's why I learned all those skills and did all those skills. As far as the one that I like the most, it's the acting. It's on camera or behind the mic. I've been doing that since I was a little, a wee lad. But I enjoy doing it all. When I had my theater company, I had a nonprofit 501c3 theater company that I started out as the artistic director, but then switched to managing director just naturally. I woke up one day and I was doing the managing directing stuff before realizing, and those are 2 very different parts of the brain. One's your artistic and this other side is business. And I just wound up having a draw to that, and I loved it. So if it weren't the acting side, I think it would be producing, because I like seeing it all come together, seeing it be an idea on a piece of paper and then become like the Manana Chronicles, which is the last video, this silly video I did with Vic. It was 9 shoot days, $10,000 budget. It had kids, college interns that got college credit for it, all this kind of stuff. But that started off as just a little 2-line sentence on a piece of paper I jotted down the year before. And so it's cool to see those things grow and become a finished product. So.
Could you tell me about Team Habercorn?
Team Habercorn. Yeah, that's a fan club that was started almost 2 years ago. We've been kind of dormant right now just because I've been so supremely busy, and I like to be incredibly involved with it. We are a paid fan club because we support charities, and also just the real costs of having overhead, like a site built from the ground up. We've got merchandise that we have to get out when you join. It's kind of misleading because you're not really paying for the membership as much as you're paying for all the swag you get. So you get shirts and lanyards and membership cards and welcome packets and all this kind of stuff, and all that costs, money. And so, but this is what the thing is, people think that there's two camps. People that, yes, I love it, support it, great. It supports the Acadiana Humane Society, which is a no-kill animal shelter in Louisiana. And it also, we just joined with St. Jude's, and so it supports them. But people think they either love it and support it, or they're like, why do we have to pay for a fan club, da-da-da-da-da? And they think I'm just rolling in membership dough, when actually I put thousands into the club just on top of everything, because we have international orders we've got to ship, and all the shipping is so expensive. But and it really is, and no one gets paid. No one that works on it gets paid, and they're all professionals that have full-time jobs that they work on. I'd love to get to the point where I could compensate them because they are so giving of their time. And I think one thing that sets us apart, besides being a charity, besides supporting charities, is that we try to be very interactive with our chat rooms, with contests that we do, and me being very involved with it and trying to do podcasts and things like that, and web chats and other things like that. That again, with the schedule that I have, I wanted to be able to do so much with it, but I literally don't have the time in the day, because in the past 2 weeks, I've traveled to 6 cities. I've slept an hour and a half a day for the past 8 days working on an audio project. When I'm not here, I'm recording through the night, trying to work on stuff. So, there's just no time for it. And that's just, unfortunately, the situation. But, in a way, it's good because working and everything's happening, but I would love to be able to do more with it. But for the people that are aware of it, me being dormant right now is only because I'm working on other projects that hopefully will be exciting for fans as they come out. So, yes.
Since you mentioned your podcast, last one I listened to, I had a question. I just remembered it because I'm totally jealous of all the sound files, the sound effect files that you have. Where do you get that? Where?
As a master podcaster yourself, I will say that those are just years of acquiring sound files and sound libraries and things like that. And you've got a team that you work with. I do it all. I have to do it all on my own. I don't have a groovy team.
Don't sell yourself short. It's pretty much mostly just me.
Oh, okay. All right. So you feel my pain.
They show up to do different characters and have fun, and to them it's a hobby. To me, it's my life.
Everyone wants to go to the party. No one wants to clean up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you
can't have a good party until someone's on the floor. So.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and then bam. You're married with children in a house. But yeah, just years of acquiring it, and that's another type of thing. That's an example of something where I see it in my head already when I'm doing it. So I don't think anyone else can do it. So I have to do it. So, but I.
Do you record that from home?
Yeah, I have a sound booth that's basically like a Funimation booth with all the monitors and gear and all that kind of stuff. Well, it's I
have a closet and a Yeti mic, so there you go.
Yeah, hey, you've got a Yeti. Those are considered to be extinct or fable, so that's pretty cool. But yeah.
How did you get started?
In voiceover, it was just an uneventful audition. I had been acting in film and commercials and on stage since I was 10, and so I've been. That was just an aspect of the industry that I didn't really know about. And obviously voiceover exists, But it wasn't on my radar because I was doing all these other things. And I'm glad it came to me. And I actually, at the time, I just kind of gotten out of college. And I was like, well, I guess I need to get a respectable gig while I try to, make it in the industry, because I'd been out of college. I'd just gotten out of college. And so my wife at the time, she was a teacher of theater arts. And so since I had a theater degree, she said, well, you could be a teacher. And so I went and taught for a couple years, and then that was right when voiceover came around. And I was at a crossroads where I was already taxed on my time and energy with teaching, because on top of teaching, I was working with my nonprofit theater company till 3 a.m. every day, building the website, filling out the nonprofit paperwork, getting a show together, directing 12th night, all this kind of stuff, and then go to school by 7 a.m. So already I was taxed that way. And so then I was like, well, voiceover, it's a gamble. I gotta pick one, and I gotta stick with it. And so what sold it for me, because at this time I had no clue what was gonna happen. How am I supposed to know that years later things would turn out very thankfully and very happily the way that they have? And I hope that it continues, because there's always room for growth. But I was walking down the hall at the school, and I was watching the other teachers that have been teaching for like 20, 30 years. And I watched them for a period of about a week. And they all had their heads down, and they all were very sad and beaten down. And I looked at that and I said, that's the face of someone who it's too late for them to choose another path. They're stuck. They feel stuck. They have regrets. And so I was like, that's it. I'm going to go down this path, and if it fails, we'll figure it out somehow. And it sounds a little more haphazard than it is. I mean, because at the time I had a very young child, my son, and I had that to think about, and so it was a big gamble. And luckily, it paid off, and I think, and it has paid off, and I think, and early on there were lean times, but I feel very fortunate to continue in this industry, knowing the things that I'm responsible for, and the people that I'm responsible for. Unfortunately, it led to, there's some sacrifices. I got a divorce because of my schedule. I'm always gone. I'm always traveling. I fly probably 70 times a year. I live on planes. I'm not around. I'm a ghost to people in my close circle. I don't get to see my son as much as I would like. He lives in Texas. I live in LA. So there are sacrifices, but it drives me and it motivates me to work harder than... And I don't say this in a cocky way, but I am the busiest person I know in my entire world. And I don't say that in a cocky way. I say it because I've earned that. Because the sacrifices that I've made of being 1,200 miles from my son and saying, if I'm going to do this, every minute's got to count. So when I moved to LA and I was meeting with agents, 4 days after I get to LA, I signed with William Morris, which is royalty there. And it's not because I'm necessarily better than this guy or this guy. It's because I walked in there and I said, listen, here's the deal. I'm like a man on borrowed time here. I've got a kid 1,200 miles away. I've sold all of this stuff I've picked up and I've moved here, and I did a year of research before coming, but I'm out here and I go, I don't have time to waste. I go, I want to make X amount of money a year, and I want to be able to fly my son out anytime I want, and I'm not going to waste your time. I will give you 100% effort if you give me that in return. And so she said, okay. And so I signed with her, and I've been doing it ever since. And I've been I work to the bone because I think about those sacrifices. And also with my mother, I'm first generation immigrant to the U.S. And so my mother is from Vietnam. She came from nothing. She was, when she came to America. In Vietnam, she had a lot, and the war came and took it all away. And she's very poor, and it was her and 6 other brothers and sisters, and living in a village. And so she came over on a boat, and it's literally just like you see in the movies, where they sneak on a boat, and the Coast Guard comes, they gotta hide under stuff. They come to California, and they work in sweatshops, and one day she said, I'm tired of that. And so she goes, I'm gonna be a doctor. And so she paid her own way through medical school, being a waitress, and then I come along. So now she's a single mom, raising me, going, working jobs. And so I was raised in daycares and babysitters, and I didn't have a lot of... That's the thing about the sacrifice I was talking about. She made that sacrifice, and at the time I didn't understand it. At the time I was like, where's my mom? But looking back, and kind of being in her shoes, I get it. She was doing all she could to make sure that I had a future. And so I was raised a lot in, the YMCA daycare or babysitters that, and my dad was a deadbeat dad, and he's dead now, and that's a different story. But and I was raised in labs and watching. She would come home smelling like formaldehyde because I would go to the work and see her work with cadavers and organs and tissue and all this kind of stuff. So that stuff doesn't freak me out. But yeah, and so she is very successful. Speaks 3 languages. She's the most qualified pathologist in the U.S. that I've heard of. When you walk into her office, her current husband is a computer engineer. So you think he's got a ton of degrees. Well, you walk in and the wall's littered with all these degrees. And over here is his on this wall. All the others are hers. So I've got that work ethic to look at. And I've chosen a business that she didn't approve of. So I've got to prove to her that I can do it. And I've got to prove to my son that these sacrifices are worth it. And I can make it and make everybody proud. Because everyone's like, it doesn't matter what people think. Don't worry about, this is the business of what people think of you. You will live or die based on what people think of you. And also, I have people towards deeper than that. I need my son to know that the sacrifices I made were not because I'm off partying. So I do care what he thinks about me. So I try to work very hard so that he's proud of what I'm doing. So that's, and also at this point, I'm in the business. I've gone so long, I don't know how to do anything else. So I gotta keep going. And I hope I do. So, yeah.
It sounds like your family is a major influence on you. Who else has really influenced your work, your life?
My family is a major influence, but what's weird is I'm not that close to them. I see them in their life as a capsule, and I'm able to look into it. That's the Asian way, that generation. We're not like there's a bond, but it's not like on the Caucasian side of my family, the German side of the family, and all that stuff. The whiteys. It's not like over there where it's like, they're pretty close, and that's weird to me, and I'm always the odd man out. But other inspirations for voiceover wise, like Chris Sabat. He's a very talented voice actor. In fact, when I was starting out, I said, man, I need to channel the Sabat. Other voice actors that impressed me: Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, who I just did a con with. As far as on-screen actors, Gary Oldman, Al Pacino, before he started just sitting back and just taking the money, and Anthony Hopkins, same thing. Just those greats, because I was raised by movies and raised by video games and things like that, and so when I do that with my son now, it's a little different, because when I did it, I was by myself, just parents fighting, working, and but I do it with him. So we play video games together, we watch movies together, so it's a little bit different spin on it. So yeah.
Don't be shy. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I asked the last one.
Alright. Out of your characters, which one have you had the most fun actually voice acting?
They're all a blast. I think the roles that are the most fun, just across the board, are the ones that involve properties that I was a fan of. So like Street Fighter was fun. Call of Duty was fun to do that because I'm a fan of the Black Ops series. Final Fantasy was, everyone knows Final Fantasy. It's cool to work on those things. And what's bittersweet about it is that I work on those, and then there are these other properties in this different level that I want to get to. So it's like people think that my life is a certain way, but I'm like, no, I'm reaching even further, and I'm trying to get to these places. So there's more to go. There are other places I want to go, and so I hope that happens.
All right, I will start asking about it, even though I'm probably going to do an interview on it later. Star Trek Continues. How did that come about?
Star Trek Continues. So Vic is a very huge fan of Star Trek. Huge fan. The most knowledgeable person I know of. He does panels where you try to stump him on trivia from the original series, and no one can beat him. I did once, but I cheated. And so he said, well, I'm going to create a fan series, but I want it to be the most professional fan series that anyone's ever seen. We both worked on other fan series that were, the love was there and the passion for the series was there, but there were deficiencies that we wanted to correct. And so I auditioned for, he wanted me originally to play Sulu. And I had done Sulu for a series, but I told him, I mean, quite honestly, I said, I can't take that much time out of my schedule if it's just going to be an occasional, hey, heading straight ahead, Captain. I'm not doing it. I don't have the time to do that. Going back to what I was talking about, every minute's got to count. So I said, if I'm going to do this series, that kind of sounds cocky, but I'm like, if I'm going to do this series, it's Spock, because that's the one I want to do. And so what I did was, that is pretty cocky, but great, okay, I'm going to go for it. But so what I did for the audition, he wanted me to audition. So I got on a green screen and I said, wouldn't it be cool if he pulled scenes from the original series. I said, wouldn't it be cool if I could be in the series, doing these scenes. So we shot it on green screen and my buddy did the visual effects and he put me in the original episodes. So it looks like, it's like a Forrest Gump thing. So like Kirk's talking, then it cuts to me as Spock. So we went back and forth. And so that was the beginning. And so we got a ton of great people involved. We've got the biggest recreation of the original series sets in the world. We have a lot of backing right now. No one gets paid. And so we're working on getting more sponsorship for that. We have Grant Imahara from Mythbusters as our Sulu. We've got Chris Doohan, who was James Doohan's son, the original Scotty, has our Scotty. We've got guys that wrote for Voyager and Deep Space Nine and Enterprise. They wrote our episode. We've got a next gen cast member who is the voice of our computer. We've got a guest star. Our first guest star villain is a guy who is reprising his role from the original series. So 45 years later, this guy's popping up again. It's really cool. For visual effects, we have the guys that supervised development on visual effects for every Star Trek series, the exact people. We had the original CBS model when they remastered the series of the Enterprise was our Enterprise. But the visual effects guy's like, we can make it better. So we have a better Enterprise that's built from the ground up from a guy that I wish I could say his name because it's like, what? It's pretty cool. There's a lot of people that are involved with this project, and we all do it for the love of it. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it's going to take off and go places. I know that Brent Spiner has seen some of it, and he loves what he's seen. Jordy's seen it, he likes it. So everyone's seen it, and we're screening it. We're debuting the first episode at Phoenix Comic-Con in May. I wish I could be there. I'll be in Puerto Rico at a con. But original Chekhov and Uhura are going to be there to watch it, and Shatner will be there also, so it'll be fun.
John Delancey is the one that pointed me there, so he's seen it too.
Hey, oh, he has?
Yeah.
What did he think?
He was like, you gotta check out what these kids are doing. And I was like, oh.
Awesome.
I was like, when Q tells you to do something,
you do it. When Q says something, cool, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Next time, I'll have to holler at him and ask him what he, yeah, so it's fun. It's fun. It's, our boots are made from the guys that made the boots for the original series. We have the exact blueprints of the original tunics, the material and all that, so we've recreated those tunics. Everything is very, very detail-oriented. So no expense has been spared. It's a huge production. It's 10 days of shooting. We shoot every day. It takes me 3 hours to get into makeup and to get into the ears, an hour to get out of them. So it's a lot. I'm the first one on set, almost the last one to leave. So it's exhaustive. But it's worth it. It's worth it because I think it'll go places. You had a question?
Is there a character type that you've not played yet that you'd really love to? And if not, is there one that you particularly do enjoy playing?
You know, I've had the great fortune of playing pretty much every archetype. One I would like to explore more is a leading man action role. I would love to do that because I feel like that's in my DNA from watching these action movies as growing up. And I would love to do something like that. Just basically, in general, I want to transition to more of an on-camera situation, a big on-camera thing, because that's where I really love playing. The problem is my look. I look very odd. Like and the agents tell me this. They're like, you have a strange we can't put you in this category. You're not in this category, so we don't really know what to do with you. And I hope they figure it out.
Tour it's Shia LaBeouf.
Hey,
See what they put him in.
I'm with you, man. Steve Buscemi. That's what? You know what I mean? So I'm with you. But I who knows? I don't control it, unfortunately. But yeah.
I'm a big fan of Soul Eater. I love Death the Kid.
Oh, great, thank you. Yeah.
And so, so do you have a little OCD there? Do you already have some OCD?
I totally have OCD with technology. Like I have to take very good care of it. It's got a certain place it sits. It's got to be a certain kind. I guess I'm OCD about clothing and things like that. Meaning like I only want to shop at like this place, or I only want sunglasses from Oakley, or I only want shoes from Puma, or I guess
You're spoiled.
I guess those are yeah. I mean, hey, those are OCD things. Like I'll go to there's a guy. Oh, where is he? I was at a con and I was like, I need new sunglasses, but they have to be Oakley's. So he drove me to a mall that had an Oakley store, and we found some, and he got some pair of sunglasses too, and we drove back. But yeah, no, I think that stems from just some nastiness growing up in situations, because I went through a lot of hard times as a kid. Really, without going to, just there's a lot. I've seen a lot of life, and so when I grew up, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go through that again. And so I think that's part of it. Is like, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So of all the things you've done, you prefer the actual acting, the physical acting on screen?
Yeah, because I mean, I like it all, but I think on-camera acting is fun because I feel comfortable with creating characters. And now with voiceover, you get to play characters that you wouldn't normally play. Like when I just did it the other day. I played an old man. He's in his like 70s. You won't normally get to do that on camera, but I don't know. There's something about being on set and doing takes time and time again and getting it better and building a character and sitting in the makeup chair, and it's very comfortable. I love it because I've grown up with it, and so voiceover is actually the thing that I've done the least of as far as years go compared to the other stuff. So I think it's kind of part of that comfort zone. Yeah.
What about improv? Like, do you have a lot of fun doing improv?
I think cons are all improv. I mean, I know kind of the panel that I'm going to do, but like this panel I just did, I had no clue it was going to go that way. I had all this stuff planned out for it, and because of tech stuff and things like that, we didn't get to do it. So I had to do something totally different. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So we ended the panel by doing a Harlem Shake that I'll post online actually right after this. So yeah, it's improv is that's life. That's just life, and so hopefully some of it works, and obviously some of it doesn't work, but you just gotta go with the flow.
When being so like independently creative, do you see like the quote unquote like YouTube stars or people self-producing and feel sometimes like you did with kind of the Mignogna Chronicles, you're gonna focus as much on that as the traditional agent actor LA kind of direction?
So with creating original content, I feel like a lot of things that I have advanced in as far as like stage stuff and film and things like that are because I had to create the project to do that, because no one would let me have that opportunity. So on stage I had to produce shows and put myself in certain roles, not because I had an ego to fill, but because I wanted to show people like, I may look this way, but I can do this thing over here that you won't let me do. And so, and that's the thing is like, I've sent auditions to other actors and things like that saying, can you just give me some feedback on this? Am I doing something wrong? And they're like, no, it's great. I don't know what the problem is. And I think a lot of what it comes down to is you have a lot of casting directors and a lot of people that make those big decisions that have no imagination. And they can afford not to, because they can afford to sit there and see 1,000 people and wait till they get the person that is exactly what they're looking for. They don't have to take someone and say, I see a nugget of something in you. I think we could hone that. But that also, and that it's just a crazy world, the industry. So I've had to create my opportunities in a lot of ways in life to try to get ahead because I won't take no for an answer. I won't do it because in the world of people, of the Kardashians being able to pretty much be dysfunctional and do nothing and be millionaires, that tells me anything's possible. I mean, that just blows my mind. What? So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm not taking no for an answer. I can voice an alien frog. I'm not taking no for an answer. So, yeah, exactly. So.
Speaking of creating, how did you get into directing anime?
I campaigned at Funimation early on, and I was seeing other directors directing, and I was asking, I was like, how do I become a director? And they're like, well, you've only been here, at the time, they were like, you've only been here 6 months, 7 months, you can't just, you gotta pay your dues, da-da-da-da-da. And I go, I don't like that. So I was campaigning heavily for it. And some directors are there 4 years before they direct. And I was sitting in the green room one day, and I had made my point known over the recent times. And Colleen Klingenbeard, she came into the green room and she said, Todd, do you want to direct? And I go, well, duh. And then, bam, directing. And that pissed a lot of people off. And in fact, they told me to my face that they're pissed. In fact, on a very uncomfortable lunch I had, I sat down with a guy that had been there for years. And he wanted to direct, and he goes, I'm not really happy about this. Just letting you know. We just sat down to lunch. He goes, I've been there a lot longer than you, and I don't like this. I'll have the chips and queso. But yeah, so it, but I feel like, I don't know, I, in a way, I felt like that was okay because I had come from directing already. Plays and movies and things like this that, you know, a lot of times people, like this person that I'm talking about had no directing experience, but he wanted to be a director. So I don't know, there's you know, some from column A, some from column B, who knows, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Having done both acting and directing, do you feel that acting has made you a better director, and do you feel that directing has made you a better actor?
Yes, because it makes you empathetic for both sides of the table, so to speak. Because you know, directors here, engineers here, you're in the booth, vice versa. Totally, because you can look for things. Because I also am a film editor and audio engineer and things like that. So that all that knowledge helps you know. Okay, I need to get that take again because there's a plosive that's going to make it hard. The engineer won't be able to get that out, or I got to turn the gate up on this because there's the noise that we got to get rid of that's you know, very low, you know. And with directing, it allows you to. I know that the director's going to want this certain read this way because later on, I know we're going to get to this point in the story where this needs to happen, and etc. So I think it's all helpful. The more knowledge you have about anything is always helpful, I feel like. And I wish I had taken advantage of that in college more, because I was just doing rehearsals and filming, and I didn't care about learning anything outside of the industry and acting. And I should have just taken more advantage of it. I wish I had. So, yeah. But, hey, still graduated, still made good grades. Don't know how. Yeah.
So how much to hire you for audio work?
For you,
Yeah, I can't.
box of Pocky.
A box of Pocky.
Yeah. Dark chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold out for two.
We'll negotiate.
The negotiator.
Any questions from the back row? You guys just hanging out as their bodyguards? Hey, Matt. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you guys, did I answer you guys' questions? I hope. Okay, if you have anything else, yeah.
What's the strangest direction you've ever been given? Either in the booth or theater, live, you know, whatever.
The strangest direction from a director for a show is when he said, all right, let's see it. And that was in reference to getting naked. He had told me at the beginning of the rehearsal process, we're going to work into it. Like, well, you'll get your boxers, then you'll go down to naked time. I was fully clothed, and for him to just jump into it, I was like, this is a little odd. Okay, we'll do that. That was probably the strangest. Another one is like, I need to hear that you're more on fire as you're dying. That was what I recently got for a game that comes out next month. Stuff like that. They're all, after a certain point, nothing weirds you out. Sometimes people are like, what's the strangest fan experience you've ever had? Or there's nothing weirds me out. Once you've seen your mother take a hacksaw to a leg that's just a leg coming out of a refrigerator and nothing weirds you out. And I've seen the layers of what it looks like. It's like, oh, that looks like the meat that goes in pho. But I mean, she's like, she goes to the fridge. I'm like, oh, is it lunchtime? No, that's where the body parts are. She takes out a leg, puts it on the thing. She gets a little circular saw, fires it up, slice like a ham at Thanksgiving. And I'm like 6 years old at the time, 6, 7 years old. And I saw that. She takes brains out and, measuring, cutting it, hearts, livers, tissue, a baby I saw one time. I've seen someone get shot and die on the table, breathing, watching the breath, boom, 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 dead from gunshot wound. I mean, I've seen it all. Drug houses. I've been to, it's crazy. I've been through, there's a ton of stuff. So nothing weirds me out because I've seen it all. I have seen it all. Beheadings, I've seen it all. So, yeah. Got a lot of patience.
Aside from the charity stuff that you do with the team Habercorn, is there another charity that you have a big focus on?
There are a lot of random charities. I try to be a social butterfly with charities. Like when I go to cons, all kinds of charities are going on. So they asked me to participate. And like this weekend, I'm helping with the charity that this con's involved with. We've done stuff for Red Cross, cancer research, breast cancer awareness, all sorts of stuff. Animals, the relief funds for Japan, everything like that. And these guys have too. They all-day cons and stuff like that, digital podcasting to raise money
got other
for
people on here that were in that too.
So yeah, I mean, there's
it's not just me.
They're all the time. I'm open to any and every charity. I try to be as best I can. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to help folks out.
I guess I was just wondering, what are some of the very most recent projects, whether they be anime or anything else that you can talk about that you're particularly excited for?
Well, there's something coming out next month that I cannot name, but it is a cool concept of a game crossing over with a TV show and the two affecting each other. And it's kind of the first of its kind, and I play a major role in that. That'll be fun. We've been working on it for like a year, and so that's cool. Let's see, is that Silent Hill game out yet? Book of Memories? That was supposed to come out. I think
yeah, I think it is out now.
It's already out.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
already out.
Okay, good. That was fun to work on.
Yeah, you could definitely talk about that when you're safe.
Okay, good. That was fun.
What's the rule? If it's on IMDb, you're okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. As far as what's funny is in LA, all my friends are trying to get into voiceover, and I'm trying to bust into their on-camera world, and it's so. I mean, it's such a weird thing. It's like they always ask me like, "Hey, can you help me do this, or can you recommend me for this, or can you da for voiceover?" And it's like I'm trying to get in on camera. Help me. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully I'll see you next time, and it'll be like, "Hey, listen, check me out on Arrested Development for or something." I don't know. Who knows? Yeah.
Just kind of wanted to throw out one more thing since you asked about it. When he mentioned the charity before, it was called Ganbare for Japan, and what was one of the coolest things that Todd did is he was actually at another con at the time, and he went up to his room, got on his laptop, and joined us to be on the show. Like, he joined us on Skype so that we could put that on the show. So while he was at another con, he came over and went on Skype and gave us an hour of his time for the charity event that we were doing for the victims of Japan.
Oh no, that was great
I
that
wanna
you
say
guys
thank
did
you for
that.
that, man.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
man, that was great that you did that. You raised some good funds and you did it for a good cause. People got some good entertainment out of it, so that was awesome.
Well, I mean, there's so many of you that like came on board and just were awesome. You, Steve. It's weird because I know so many of you now on a first name basis, and you were telling me to call you by first name, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
It's still kind of tripping me out, but like thanks to you guys, we ended up raising around $2,500 for Japan. And
Yeah, that's awesome,
goes
man.
to help
That's
out a
really,
lot.
really cool. That's really great.
So when he's talking about all the hard work he does for charity, he is not joking around.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, there's always room to do more. I want to do more volunteering at animal shelters and stuff when I get some free weekends coming up.